we have with us the youngest headmaster of the world, the founder of Ananda Shiksha Niketan, House of Happy Learning. That is Mr. Babar Ali. He has been awarded with the CNN IBN Real Hero Award, Indian of the Year Award, Literacy Hero Award for his immaculate contribution in the field of education for all. Welcome, sir. We are honored to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you for your invitation.
I request Anastasia to take over.
Okay, thank you, sir, for being here. And so for now, we want to ask you some questions. So the first one is, what are the current situation in your school? Did the COVID influence the learning process, and how is it now?
Okay, so very good question. So you already came to know that my school, it is situated in a remote village in India, and I am from Murshidabad district in the state of West Bengal. It is one of the border district. It covers Indo-Bangladesh border. So during this pandemic situation, really it is I am very sorry to say you that students, they are basically detached from education, especially the rural students, because we have not the enough resources to give them online education, because the students, they have not the electronic gadget. Even from our school authority, though we have the will that we can teach our students, but we have not enough resources. So they are not getting proper education nowadays. From 19th of March 2022 till date, schools are closed. Basically, schools are not closed, but the classes are suspended till now. So this is the problem. Sometimes we are trying to help our students in group wise, though they are not coming at our school, from their house. We are trying to help them to get their lessons. But you see, but massively students are detached from education. They are deprived from education, and their mental health situation is also not so good, because every day they are asking me that when they can come at the school again. So this is the situation right now, and we are waiting for the best. And of course, we are waiting that when we can reopen our school, both students and teachers.
Thank you, sir, for sharing with us. And even I'm a student and I'm facing same problems.
Yes,
right?
Yes,
so
I can understand.
it is something like we all are facing right now. Yes, Anastasia, you were saying something.
It's very hard, especially for the schools that are located in the rural areas. And also we would like to know, but what actually inspired you to teach when you were only a kid? And also, was there any epiphany moment when you realized that it's your passion and you can bring a change, make a change?
Okay. So in the year of 2002, when I was a student of class 5 and a boy of 9 years old, so I myself used to attend 10 kilometers far away school. And after returning from my school, I saw the children like my age. They are working in the fields, they are grazing cattle. Girls, they are working at their houses. And many students, they are working as the rag pickers. So I collected 8 of them, include my sister, and started teaching in my family backyard. So that time there was no particular syllabus. Whatever I have learned from my own school, I used to share with those students. Gradually it became a school, and since my childhood, my ideal hero Swami Vivekananda's epoch-making doctrine, service to man is service to God, it also inspires me to continue my mission. So basically, I love to teach. And when I realized that I myself getting education, but the children like my age, they are deprived from education. And if I can do something for them, then we can make a better society. The realization, it helps me to continue my mission.
Great, sir. That's a really great thing that you are doing. Definitely, it's definitely a world-changing thing and really inspiring for all the people. And I would like to ask that when you just started your school, like what hardships did you confront when starting the teaching children? Was it really was it really difficult to pursue parents and let the children learn? What support did you receive from the government authorities, and how did you manage and overcome the financial problems and get the resources?
Okay. So you see, when I started my school, my mother, she was the first person who came forward to help me. But my father, he had an ambition to see me as an administrative officer. So at first he thought that if I can share my own lessons with others, maybe my education will be hampered. So he warned me not to continue this work, but I did the same thing. So I already mentioned you that I started my journey in my family backyard under a guava tree in my family backyard. But when my father warned me not to continue this work, so I gathered them at a nearby village jungle. But again, he came to know that I am doing the same work every day afternoon. I am teaching those children. So one day he asked a retired degree college principal. He shared my journey, my works with him, and he told that your son is doing a good work, and if he can do good, God will help him. So he also became convinced, and since my childhood, my whole family members, they came forward to help me. But you see, when I founded Ananda Shiksha Niketan, I had to suffer much, struggle much, but I did not give up hope. I hoped against hope and fought tooth and nail to combat all the adversities. So when I founded Ananda Shiksha Niketan, the home of joyful learning, the village elders were very skeptic to educate their children, as they were not educated themselves. Hence, they used their children as the helping hand. To send the girls' children, there was a strong reservation in our society. So when I pursued to the parents to send their children at our school, the first question I was asked, how education will be important, even you cannot afford 2 square meals in a day, and to educate girls, they will not find husbands. Actually, early marriage problems existed in our society. But I ignored all the criticism and went ahead with my plans. And you know that I started my school in the year of 2002, and last year, 19th October 2020, we completed 18 years of our journey, and more than 6,000 students has received completely free education from our institution. And out of them, 60% are girls and 40% are boys. So basically, to bring the children in the field of education, it was very difficult to convince their parents. On the other hand, as a child, I also, many villagers, many people, they also keep harassing me that how a small boy can run a school, what is his motto, what he is doing. Even few of my teachers at my school where I studied, they also discouraged me. Of course, few teachers, they encouraged me. So when I was in 6th standard, every day I asked broken chalk from my school teacher. So one day he asked my classmates that every day he is asking for broken chalk. What he is doing with those broken chalks? Is he writing something in the blackboard or school premises? Then our classmates told, no, madam, he started a school and he became the headmaster. So she became very happy and he came back with a full box of chalk. So of course, few teachers, they encouraged me, and few teachers, they also discouraged me. They thought that I am going to spoil my own education. On the other hand, there was the religious biasness. Many students, they focused about religious education rather than the modern education. And ill motivated people, jealous people, And of course, for financial issue, you see, my family member, we are also coming from a very modest background. My modest background, we have also the financial crisis, but our family members, they came forward with their help. And later, when the peoples came to know about our institution, they came forward with help. They came forward with help. Nowadays, or still now, we are dependent on donation. So the people's across, now our school became popular one. Our works and activities, many peoples across the country, also in abroad, came to know. So our well wishers, basically, they are helping us. That's why it is possible for us to give them completely free education. But of course, it was very difficult situation. Even it was a life challenge for me to run an institution, because in around us, lots of jealous, ill motivated peoples, biased peoples, even who don't encourage the education also, especially the modern education. So these guys, it was also a threat for me. And somehow, of course, I will share that I also overcome all those problems with the support from the peoples like you, from the well wishers like you. It is possible for me and of course my school authority to overcome all the issue, and we are working with our mission.
And so thank you so much for being with us here today again, sir. So my question was, we all know that your school is one that is full of joyful learning. So what does joyful education mean to you? And is it due to your core values, or is it because of the special learning techniques that you use, such as mnemonics or speed reading?
Okay, before answering your question, you see, actually I started my school on 19th October 2002. That time in our state, West Bengal, our academic session was May to April. Nowadays, the academic session is January to December as per our state government syllabus. So when I completed my 5th standard annual examination, I decided to inaugurate my school. It was in the year of 2003, in the month of April. So one day I invited that retired degree college principal and the village, I mean chiefs and others. And I collected sari from my mother, and the village woman made a pandal and asked that retired degree college principal to inaugurate my school. Later, I requested him that please advise me that what will be the suitable name for my institution. And he suggested me that at your institution, students are getting education through joyful atmosphere. So Ananda Shiksha Niketan, the joyful learning, it should be the perfect name for your institution. Okay. So as I believe that education is not a bookish knowledge, not a pack of information, but it is man making. And so we are also trying to emphasize on man making education, the value based education, because nowadays, of course, to gain knowledge, bookish knowledge is, of course, this is important, bookish knowledge, to gain bookish knowledge, our practical knowledge also very much important. But apart from that, man making education, this is necessary for nowadays, the value based education, because nowadays in our society, what's happened, a valued person, of course, he is taking time to get his recognition, but many people around us, even you see what I can say, they are well evaluated in our society. But you see, of course, throughout our younger generation, students like you, if you can emphasize on man making education from our own self, then you see in coming days we can change a massively we can change in our society. So always we want to emphasize on man making education at our institution. And I already told that Swami Vivekananda, he is my inspiration, and since my childhood I have gone through his works and books. His message always gave me inspiration. And not only that, it does not mean that I read so many things about him, but whatever I learned from him, I always tried to realize and tried to actualize in my real life. So of course, at our institution, we are trying to giving emphasis on man-making education, value-based education, and skill-based education at our institution, apart from bookish knowledge. And of course, practical knowledge is also important nowadays to become a skilled person, because you know that many people, they have the degree but they are not a skilled person, because this is also very much important nowadays, the skill based education also.
Yes, sir, I totally agree the way you said that nowadays skill-based education is very important. So, sir, as you already told us about what is the education system right now, so what are your thoughts on how to improve that at the basic level? We cannot actually always go to the bigger level. So, at the basic level, how can we work towards improving the education system and make it much more better for our state, country, and the entire world? What are your views on that, sir?
Okay, of course, you see, in every decade or every after few years, we are changing our syllabus, we are trying to bring something new. The expert committee, they are doing this. You see the syllabus and syllabus to, I already told you that to gain knowledge, it is also important. The syllabus, it is okay, but you see, we need to give emphasis on holistic education and value based education. Holistic education is very much important. You see the education system of Japan, the Norway, students, they can learn something, because education, it is not only the bookish knowledge, I already told you. So I always try to emphasize on holistic education also, and value based education. This is very much important, and we should implement it from the elementary level. This is very much. And nowadays what happens, the younger generation like you have lots of aspiration, lots of determination, you are also passionate one. The problem is you are not getting motivation. You are not getting motivation. Everybody is, of course, for our livelihood, we need money, we need job. This is also very much important. But we are, since our childhood, we are only emphasis on this issue only. So the holistic education, the all-round development of education, and the value-based education, these things is very much necessary nowadays. You see, it is very easy to say in simple word, value-based education, holistic education, but its inner meaning is, it has huge inner meaning. So we need to implement all these things since our childhood. That's I can say.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing that. And also, sir, as you said, many people have a lot of ambitions, high ambitions today, and many of them aspire to study abroad, like in Europe or North America, and they're going far away from their home. And does it influence like local education services? Maybe why it's becoming some sort of trend? Maybe you have some thoughts about that.
So can you please repeat again?
Yeah, of course. Many people, many young people are going far away from home to study, and to USA or Canada or Europe. And why does it influence local education in their home country? And maybe why it's a trend now, some sort of trend to study abroad? Why people don't stay?
Okay, you see, it depends on situation. We have this kind of example in our country also, even from our village also. So of course, after a certain age and a certain education from their respective areas, they are also traveling, they keep traveling in other metropolitan cities, other states, developed states, or other countries also. It is okay, because you see, this is also very much important, because whoever this kind of opportunity, this is also important. You see, like Confucius, what he told in that ancient times, and because so I can also support this. I can also support this, that after a certain age, I mean after his elementary education or high school education, if anybody wants to travel in another place for his higher education, so that he can meet with the others students who are also coming from different regions, different areas, so that they can also exchange their culture, their system and everything. This is also okay. And other hand, you see the students, especially for the elementary students and basically from the rural background students, in our education system, we need to include their local culture, heritage, and everything, because so that they can understand their heritage or culture in a joyful atmosphere, because they are very much associated with those things. And so after a certain age, I cannot say that from their elementary level they can travel other places. I cannot tell that. But after their graduation, undergraduation course or post graduation course, or for their research, if they travel in different place, that is also okay. But always keep in your mind that as a responsible citizen, you need to do something for our society, for our country, for also for our world. You need to keep in your mind all these things, that education is not only the self-centered things. Okay, you can do something, you need to do something better for our society. You always keep it in your mind. That I only can say.
Definitely, so a person definitely learns when he travels, but he should definitely be connected to his roots, where he was born and where he was grown up. And also, I would like to ask, when you started teaching others, did you think that the education system is the key to having more opportunity, especially for young girls? Was there any intention of making stereotypes around women's education? Have you noticed that girls around you are struggling with their claimed occupation, that many parents are against spending money in girls' education? So like, what do you think? Like your education system, did this give opportunity to girls also?
You see, education for all, but we always try to emphasize on girls education, because this is very much necessary. Because you know that if a girl child or girls students, if they can learn, they can teach many other children. Like a children, at first he can learn something from his or her mother. So, and of course in many areas girls also very much neglected, because due to early marriage, religious biasness, that kinds of problems existed in our society. So in that aspect, girls education is very much necessary, because if you teach one girl, she can teach at least two of his two others person, as per my perception. So this is very much necessary. And nowadays, even at my area, the girls education is increasing now. More girls students enrolled in the schools rather than the boys students. But why this kind of situation? Because after a certain age, boys education, boys, they are also working as the migrant labor in different areas, different parts in India, different parts of India. So we need to emphasis on education, both girls and boys. After a certain, at least up to a age, we need to educate them, and we need to educate them.
Yes, sir, I completely agree. And education shouldn't be a matter of discussion, but it should be a fundamental right that everyone should be granted. So, on this same note, what advice would you want to give to your own students or young people who are aspiring to educate themselves and others as well?
Okay. Of course, in our constitution, and education is one of the fundamental rights. So you see, students like you, or the students still now who are unable to attend school, they should come in the light of education. And the students like you, like my big dream is education for all with equal opportunity. You see, right now, nowadays, the many students, they enroll themselves in different institutions, different schools. It is a very good sign. But now there is a lack of quality education. There is lack of quality education. Maybe they registered themselves in different schools, but even they have not the quality of education. So if we can work together for the students who are still need education, who are still need qualified quality education, then only it is possible. Like you see, I did my double post graduation in English and history, but I learned English alphabet not from my school. When I was in 5th standard, I learned English alphabet from my father, from my house. So what happened in our school, so that kind of problem we face from our rural background. But the students like you have the better opportunity. So as per your level, you can help others to fulfill this, for the fundamental rights to bring children in the field of education. If you can educate others in your leisure time, to give them quality education, it is also possible. So this is not the job of anyone. This is the collective job. This is the collective work. So if we can work together for the betterment of our younger generation, then only it is possible to fulfill maybe the fundamental rights or the education for will equal opportunity. We need to work together. And apart from our own studies and own passion and everything, because this is very necessary. You need to focus your own studies also, your own passion also nowadays. And and apart from that, as a responsible citizen, you need to do something. So whenever you will do more, you will gain more knowledge, you will earn lots of experience, lots of practical knowledge also. This is also necessary for our life.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful words. So, lastly, we would like to know what are your future plans regarding educating people?
Yes. So my future plan, you see, this 19th October 2021, I am going to complete 19 years of my journey here. So I started my school under a guava tree. Now it became a very big school, and now our school got affiliation from West Bengal Board of Secondary Education. um, West Bengal Board of Secondary Education. Though we are not getting any support from the government, we are getting support from our well wishers. So my big dream is education for all with equal opportunity. So I want to spread education. I want to motivate younger generation like you to come forward for the children who are still need education. So I am working on it. So, and over 19 years, more than 6,000 students has received completely free education. Now my former students, after their graduation and teachers training degree, they came as the qualified teachers at our institution. So, and here we are also going to set up a skill-based education. But in coming days, I want to move across the country. I want to work with the younger generation like you in wherever we still need to afford education for the needies. So I am going to work to fulfill my dream, education for all with equal opportunity. Though this is not only possible for me, if the peoples like you can come forward, then only it is possible. And apart from that, the man-making education and value-based education. Of course, I am trying to inspire all these things in every.
Thank you so much, sir. We, on behalf of the Aurora Academic Journal, would also really love to help you in your initiative. And it was an amazing opportunity to interact with you and get so much of information, so much of values and the importance of education, and that we might not have known, we came to know from you. It was really amazing to have you here. And I would request others also to say something.
Yes, sir. It was really an honor to be with a person like you. And that's what I can say. I have no words other than that it was a really great honor to be with a person who, from being a place, you are an example for me, where it's like if you don't have opportunities, you can make your own opportunities. That's what I learned today. That was the lesson I learned today. And I'm really grateful to you for teaching me this life lesson.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
And on a similar note, your insight was very impactful for me as well. Like, you made me realize that to bring up a change, it can even start from a small thing, and these small things grow to become a big change that can positively impact the society. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for being here. I agree to all my colleagues, and thank you for this opportunity to interact with you, because sometimes it's getting hard to imagine that you can bring a change even in your small community. Thank you very much for joining us
Thank
today.
you. Thank you. So I am also very happy to meet all of you, though it is an virtual interaction. And I am really happy when I came to know about your website and about your work that the younger generation like you are focusing. I am really happy. And then and there, I received your invitation because I was so happy. So thank you very much. My best wishes to all of you, and I wish you all a good future ahead. And thank you very much for your invitation. And near future, when the situation, of course, nowadays the situation is better, but when it will be new normal, please do visit at our institution, and please keep in touch so that we can work together, and also focus on your studies. And also, I always told you that you also, of course, you all have the passion, and I am really happy you are also doing something new, because that's why I told that the younger generation, they have the passion. We need to motivate them, we need to inspire them. So please go ahead. And lastly, I want to conclude with a message of Swami Vivekananda: go on bravely, do not expect success in a day or year, always hold on to the highest, be steady, avoid jealousy and selfishness, be obedient, be eternally faithful to the cause of truth, humanity, and your country, and you will move the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, so you please take a picture, all of us. Yes.
Sure, sir. Done.
Because this is something new that the students like you are organizing. We are joining the events that especially our seniors are doing, but I am really happy when I saw you all.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.